Today, we stand where others have fallen before us. Today, we take on a mission that others dare to even challenge. We are going to become the podcast that talks about other podcasts on their podcasts. Wenzel, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, and I really cannot complain that much. Even though the weather in South Africa is replicating Ireland at the moment, it is just rain and mist. And
Really?
oh yeah, last 3 days, 3 days straight, rain, mist, miserable. Hasn't been cold though, like 18, 17 maybe on the low end. So yeah, not too bad. How about you? How are you doing?
Today was probably the nicest day of the year. So complete opposite to you. And it was so strange because summer is pretty much over. But it was at a high 22 degrees, but no clouds in the sky. I was actually working outside. I took my laptop outside. We've got like an outside table with like an umbrella. Set that up, sat outside, had my meetings and stuff there. It was nice. I think I got a bit of a tan. You can see
Oh
the
yeah,
difference
yeah.
there.
No, there's a tan. You'd be embarrassed if you saw me in the flesh. This light makes me still look a bit yellow, but I am probably the most pale I've ever been in my entire life.
Well, summer's coming up, so
Yeah,
that's
it's
going
not
to
going to
change.
help. Yeah, it's not going to help. I live in suit and tie all day,
right.
every day. And then on the weekends, I'm catching up on admin. So it's just fantastic. Zero time
So
in the
your
sun.
tan is like somewhere around here.
It's my face, and it's not even. I don't even have a watch tan because it's just all pale. It's just all pale.
That's terrible.
It is so sad.
But yeah, no, it was good today. I sat outside and I had some meetings, and everyone like was really impressed to see me sitting outside. They were really jealous. I don't know why. They could have also gone outside, but they don't live in the countryside like I do. Everyone else lives in the city. So their outside is like 1 by 1 meter concrete block.
Oh no,
That's the outside. Whereas mine, at least I've got a garden and some space.
No, that sounds fantastic. You didn't get anyone asking you what green screen you were using or anything like that?
I might have if I had turned and had like just the forest behind me, but I had a bit of my house in, so it was pretty obvious it wasn't.
Okay, no, because I thought you could have been like, actually, I forget the name of the guy who was on TikTok back in COVID. I think he's kind of shifted into doing some of the weird stuff where he has like a really big fake butt. But
I've seen him. Yes, I've seen him.
He was the one doing all the green screen meetings, doing like the most craziest things, like being on trampolines and skydiving, and so yeah, that just made me.
He did a backflip on a motorbike or something with the green screen attached to him,
and the laptop somehow strapped, harnessed somewhere in front of him. So that made me think of that.
You know what? Sometimes stuff like that it's creative. You don't expect it. It's but it catches on, and it's like a trend that for him he could keep replicating it, right? But speaking about trends, there is one that went really, really viral recently, the Talk Tuah trend.
I think it's because it struck a chord with every male member of the audience ever.
Right. Now, this is the thing, right? This is my question. Very recently, Jake Paul has signed her to his entertainment, whatever, and given her a podcast. Now, the name of the podcast is called Talk Tuah. So it's a pretty cool name. The question that I have for you is, who is this podcast for? Because the reason that she went viral was because guys were sexualizing what she had said, right?
Well, I mean, so she didn't help herself in that regard.
True. But that was the main thing. Thing. So now she starts a podcast. These guys that were sexualizing her don't want to listen to her talk. She doesn't have a female following or of any kind. So who is the podcast for? Who's
think
listening to the podcast?
I think it's pretty obvious, at least for now, unless she has some genius marketing going on. But I'm pretty sure the target audience is going to be guys. I'm not going to give an age range because I'm pretty sure it's just going to be all guys, depending on the guest she gets. So it depends. I haven't actually looked into what her beginning
Well, her
guest stars
first
are.
guest was Whitney Cummings, who's a stand-up comedian, and her friend from that viral video. And it was the dullest thing I've ever seen. But it did spark some creative TikToks of people reacting to it, like a room full of like 20 guys watching it. And every time one of them said something, they absolutely cheered and went crazy. So that's a cool thing I'm seeing going around, because that's all I can imagine are the only people that are watching this.
Yeah.
Besides bots, there must be millions of bots that are watching.
Yeah, I think that's true, because if you watch a lot of those early videos in the comments, it's just the male audience are like praising it as gospel, like, oh, finally there is one, and all the women are just absolutely not having it. One or two of the attention seekers are like, oh yeah, I agree, but I'm going to give like a large majority of the women are just absolutely in disagreement, and almost disgusted that she's now creating like this image to guys that, oh shit, there actually are women that actually do it and actually enjoy it.
And it wasn't even funny.
No.
Like, it was so, like, it went, the first time you saw it, oh, okay, cool. And then from there, it was just anytime someone said it, it was cringe. And most of Gen Z got that. They were like, this is cringe. No one should be doing this. But millennials and boomers were like, oh, this is amazing. We have to share this. Oh, my word.
But again, that plays on your podcasting, because she got famous of someone else doing, it was TikTok or YouTube. Well, another clip that went viral for me, at least, was on TikTok. I'm just not sure if that was that guy's only. Well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't the only platform, but that's where I saw it. Literally, she got famous for some other random guy doing it. Then people searched her, found her, and made her super viral from that one little clip from someone else's channel. Like, so is she paying royalties to that guy, or like is he charging a finder's fee or a spotlight fee? You know, like a modeling agency. You know, you got your agent. Is he, or is that channel gonna get anything out of this, or is she just like a shot for the free publicity? I'm out of here.
Definitely that. Definitely. Shame. Yeah, actually, I don't know if you've seen the full clip, the full interview that he did.
No, to be honest,
it was horrid.
I couldn't be interested. I just thought that one clip.
No, I'm in agreement with you there, because it was horrid. I found it. I was watching another video that was like breaking down the whole situation, and they played the full clip, and he is like, I don't know if he's just pressing her for clips, but like, she said that viral Talk Tuah thing, and then straight after he asked another question, and he's like, oh, so do you actually Talk Tuah on it? And he's like carried on asking, and it was like uncomfortable. So like, I'm glad they clipped it before then, but because the full interview is, and she wasn't paying attention, she was over it, she wanted to walk away. It was very awkward.
Or maybe that's why we haven't heard of him. Maybe he got cancelled because all us men only saw that little clip, and we didn't bother to find the rest of it because we thought that was hilarious. And then everyone else that, generally, like most women, I don't know if your missus is the same as mine, she will go and find the original source. She will watch the whole backstory where they came, all like, getting way too in depth for such a silly little thing. And then they probably all like, oh no, this person's horrible, cancel him. So maybe that's why he's just MIA. I haven't heard anything about it since.
Or maybe he's one of those where he's just trying to get viral clips, and he had one blow up. Well done to him. But now he'll probably try and replicate it, and it will never be as good, because you can't rely on that kind of viral moment to keep you going. Because
it's so unpredictable to see what little silly phrase is gonna captivate an audience, an unpredictable audience, because one day we can say yay to, we can absolutely adore a green cactus, and the next day we're all going to think it's some satanic symbol or some shit. So you never know. So yeah, that really was a proper one-hit wonder in my eyes, where it's just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. And but I did see a really good TikTok where this guy he did a recap of the episode, but instead of saying what they actually spoke about, he spoke about old pirate ships and naval ships and fleets and the whole battle of whatever back in the day. But the way he framed it was like that they were speaking to each other about it, and it was actually really well done. And if that is what they actually spoke about, 10 out of 10, best podcast in the world.
Yeah, but I think that's definitely just Jake Paul jumping on that popularity thing. I mean, she was on stage at which country singer was it? What country, or was it R&B? Anyway,
It was definitely current country.
yeah, and she was on there on stage. She was singing with them. It's as though a genuine thing was like this fairly talentless person just said the right thing at the right time, caught the wave.
Who else has this ever happened with? Has anyone else ever gone so viral with no talent? Like no talent involved in the making of going viral.
Yeah, absolutely.
You would
putting me on the
think,
spot.
I would think the only other person that I know of that went this viral would be that Walmart yodeling kid.
No, I've got one better for you. This could be controversial.
Right.
Because I think they still have the most liked video, or they second Bella Porch. Is that her name?
Okay, fair enough.
Well, literally, what did she do? She did like some music in the early TikTok days, and literally just.
I think that is what made her go viral.
No,
was that video.
It is. It's because that video is like the second most viewed video on TikTok ever.
Yeah, and the next one, Leah Holton, she's an Australian, also did a similar thing very recently and went viral. So I suppose, there are those kind of ones, but those people intentionally did a video to try and get likes.
And I guess it does take a little bit of practice to get the timing right to sync with the video. So
yeah, I don't think it was
like a little bit
first
of
take.
Yeah, they'll imagine. All those those TikTok accounts where they call it first takes only, and you can they match it perfectly every time, and you're like, first take only. You didn't practice that for half an hour at home without the camera on, definitely. Yeah, so I think
it was first take on that camera. They tried 100 on the other camera. But it's crazy because the whole podcast thing, like, I get what Jake Paul did. Clever of him to sign her up. But let's say, realistically, entertainment industry speaking, you will book 6 months in advance. You'll have everyone lined up for a podcast, right? Until the podcast gets 0 views, those people at the end aren't going to say, oh, I'm not going on it, because they've still got something to promote. So they're still getting paid for it. Those celebrities that Jake Paul has organized are not going to turn down this opportunity, right? So it's still going to get views. It might be botted views, but she'll be signed for about a year. And then if she hasn't got anything from there, I can see it dying off.
Yeah, or maybe she's definitely going to carry on with the whole social media influencer and that sort of thing, regardless of whether it's Jake Paul. Obviously, being aligned with Jake Paul, incredible for her as well, because she can ride on the back of anything he does, is somehow going to trickle into her. So it works both ways. But yeah, even if it doesn't work out for Jake with her, she will have gained enough of a following to probably keep an income coming from all her platforms, regardless of being affiliated to Jake Paul. So great move from her part.
And look, I'll give her credit, because it's not like she wanted to be a influencer. She didn't have an Instagram account before she went viral. So I'll hand it to her. It wasn't what she wanted, but she's taking charge. Don't put the blame on her, but put the blame on the people watching. Because honestly, it is the
It's our
dullest thing
fault.
I've ever seen. It's so dry. And it's like, I don't know who the audience is that is spending time watching this podcast. We know exactly who that is.
It's you,
Yaku, we
Yaku.
see you.
Jinx, show me a Coke. But no, it's just one of those things. Hey, must
It
be
is.
easy.
I know what you're trying to say.
I'm going. I'll drop it. Let us be cancelled already after 20 views. But
Yeah.
don't you think, in the world of social media nowadays, it's tough for us guys? I'm gonna say it. I'm probably not the first because I'm too scared to look into it. But it is really tough for us guys out there. It is a lot easier for women. Now we can agree or disagree, and all the feminists are going to come after me with pickaxes. But sure, certain industries, men have it a bit easier historically.
Most industries.
Most industries, we'll be honest, we have the upper hand in most cases. But in the modern world of social media, women have the upper hand. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to do much. You just kind of stand in one spot, bounce up and down. Gravity does the rest, and hey, presto, 30,000 likes, and you're like,
But
you did
here's
nothing.
the thing. Here's the thing. So those accounts that you're talking about, right? The ones that use their, let's call them assets to get views. There's an end date on that content. You
No,
can't do that past a certain date. With guys, I think for a guy to go, yes, there are fitness influencers and there's guys that are doing bodybuilding and that's like their thing. Great. But for most guys, I think you have to be funny or educational. Like I think that's the two categories in terms of social media where you have an opportunity to actually get a following.
So that's the thing I found. I think maybe more specifically to elaborate on it is, I think a lot of those people use their assets, especially initially, because their growth in fame and following grows 10 times quicker than can be the funniest oak ever. But he's got to grind, and then eventually grows exponentially. Where I feel like those kind of people often do then capitalize once they've gained the audience. Then they start adding little bits of funny or educational with a twist, or even there's even now ones where it recently came up today where it's playing violin or piano but in a slightly more auspicious dress code, if we could put it that way. And it actually is like really well played, and you can tell it's live, not tuned, because you can hear I'm not a professional musician, so I can't give you the correct
You can
terms
hear it
for
in the back. It's like in the background. It's not.
Yes, yeah, you can hear it's not an overlaid audio. You can hear the actual mistakes and the creaking of the chair and everything. But if you were to watch a guy playing that exact same thing in a t-shirt, you're not going to spend a second scrolling. You're just going to be like, okay, guy playing a violin, whatever.
Well, I have to argue with you there because there is that one guy that plays the saxophone, and he's really good. And he's not attractive in the conventional sense, but he plays the saxophone and over like a normal song, and he's like, this song that this song would sound like with a saxophone, and he plays it, and it's really good, and he gets millions of views.
So that is a very good case of
But
his
the
actual
average
talent
guy
pulling through.
But the average, like if you had to have 100 saxophone players all play the same song, post the same video, the one that has the attractive person in is most likely to get longer view rate than the rest of them.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's what my argument is, where it has a slight upper hand. I can't say it's fair or unfair because we don't always choose to be born the way we are and how we look. Yes, we can influence it by eating well, exercising, but some things are God-given gifts, and you either have it or you don't. So shame if you don't, lucky if you do, and you damn well make sure you take full advantage of it if you have it.
Yeah. Well, also you could pay for it, so there's that option.
You could pay for certain things.
You could pay for most things.
If you're super rich.
Cristiano Ronaldo, before he was rich and after he's rich.
I mean, I don't have that much down. Okay, yes, his teeth were absolutely horrid.
His teeth, his hair, his eyebrows, everything.
Yeah.
His nutrition helped his build as well. So, I mean,
professional athletes, money makes a difference, sadly.
Money makes a difference. But I would love to see the stats on who has more podcasts. Is it male or female? Like who has which gender has the majority
higher
of
percentage
podcasts?
of podcasts. That's one stat I think is quite interesting. And then another podcast, or another stat to follow on that would be out of those demographics, which podcasts are more fun, relaxed content, having a good time, versus how many are really uptight and opinionated, that sort of thing.
So which ones are controversial and which ones are joking? Yeah, I think there's a very fine line, but it's odd because if you're talking just podcasts in general, I know a lot of female podcasts do like true crime stories. So like they'll talk about true crime and stuff, and those do really well. But I think the most famous podcast is the Cancelled Podcast with Tana Mojo, who we spoke about in our second episode. It was? Yep.
Yeah.
Second episode. She's the most or the highest performing podcast. And they just talk about drama.
Like all kinds of silly drama.
Like California drama.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I hate this person. I can't stand this person. This person lost weight. They must be on Ozempic.
Oh, yeah. So that's what I mean. Like how many, even if you break it down into that, so how many, say, there's thumbsuck here. Let's say 70% of podcasts are male dominated. Out of that 70%, 80% are trying to be fun, silly, joking, more on that side of the scale, where 30% are more true crime, drama, finance bro, that kind of thing.
Finance bro podcast. Oh my goodness. Let's not get started on that.
Day trade with me. Buy my course for $500 and never hear from me again. Like, that's something that grinds my gears properly.
Yeah. You know what grinds my gears? I don't even know the name of the podcast, but there's these two guys. The one guy has a long neck and the other guy wears a Spider-Man jersey. And they talk about comics. And they're always screaming at each other. But they always have such bad takes about comics and stuff.
I've never actually... maybe because I haven't Googled enough podcasts, so it's not on my feed. But I think I need to get into it because I need to see some more of these interesting feeds. Because the one...
if it comes up on my timeline again, I'll send it to you. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like them because they're always shouting at each other, number one.
Who were those brothers we used to watch? The Hodge twins.
Oh, right. Do they still do it? They had a
every
fight very recently, like
every now and then
online.
something pops up, but I don't know if it's like a actual new content or if it's just resurfacing old content. But yes, those oaks used to be. Yes, we used to watch those oaks flat out. They were hilarious. Used to love them.
Random question: who's your favorite podcast?
I don't know if it's podcasting or if it's more vlogging, but bloody hell, what was his name? Oak in New York wears glasses. Videographer
Oh, Casey Neistat.
Casey Neistat. Yeah,
Okay, but that's definitely not podcast.
yeah, that's not podcast. That's more vlogging and that sort of thing.
Yeah, shame he doesn't
But
post anymore.
I think he's just got too famous now. He just does like actual movie
No,
stuff.
he does. He definitely does like movies. He was in that one movie with Jamie Foxx. But he, because I usually watch him when he did his daily uploads. He did like 800 daily uploads in a row, which 800 days uploading a video every day. And what he would do is he would go out, he would film a video, and it was always a story. It was never just like a, hey guys, I brushed my teeth today. It was always like a story.
Yeah.
And when he would edit it, he would edit it in order. So he wouldn't have like he wouldn't sit down and say, okay, well, this is what the end is going to look like, and I got to build it up here. He would go frame one, and he would like edit it like that. So every day he would film his day and then upload it and then edit it the same way he uploaded it and then upload to YouTube. So that's crazy. But he recently said he stepped back from it because he's got multiple businesses, multiple revenue sources, and he's got kids. So there's no need for him to do YouTube.
Yeah, to pump out content like he used to.
Like he doesn't love it like he used to. It used to be a passion of his. Now he's like, I'll do it if someone sponsors me. Like if Insta360 releases a new product and wants me to do a video on it, then he'll do it. But other than that, he's not going to post.
But I mean, that makes sense. So you start out doing that, pushing yourself so hardcore, trying to make a name, trying to create something. And then inevitably, you grow a family, your priorities start changing. Well, I mean, that makes sense. That's understandable.
Yeah.
Growth.
I mean, you could do the other option of getting cancelled like Cody Ko and just not coming back ever again. He had 5 channels which he would post on every other day. So he would be posting every single day content.
Bloody hell.
And he had 2 podcasts. And then all of this drama happened and he just disappeared. He's
Remind
like,
me-
thanks, I'm done.
Just brush over. What was the drama again?
He slept with Tana when she was underage.
Oh, yes. Oh,
That's
yes.
what we spoke about in
Yes.
episode 1.
Sorry. Yes,
But
I needed a refresher.
he hasn't come back. He hasn't posted again.
Well, how do you come back? I mean,
Yeah, we spoke about this in episode 1. If you guys want to see it, click on the banner at the top. You can check it out there. But I would say my favorite podcast, the one that I listen to almost religiously, is The Basement Yard with Joe and Frank,
okay.
also in New York. The one I send you all the clips from on TikTok.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I've watched them for a long time. I used to watch Joe when he used to post his people in Walmart videos back in the day, like when YouTube was still the TV icon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's taking it back.
He's been around for a while. Surprisingly, hasn't been cancelled yet, which is good. But yeah, speaking of podcasts that have been cancelled, another one that blew up and I was a fan of is Shxts and Gigs. So James and Fuhad do a podcast full of jokes. It's always funny. A lot of people idolize them as being quite attractive, being quite funny, being well put together.
Yeah.
So you asked me what happened to this apology. What's this whole situation about? So
Because I
what
hadn't
happened
seen
was
it, yeah.
They recently went on a podcast that I used to watch, but I got over it because my frontal lobe developed and I became, let's say, aware, self-aware, Flagrant. So Andrew Schultz, the comedian, has a
Yeah.
podcast called Flagrant with Akash Singh, who's also a comedian, and then two of their friends. Now, it's a funny podcast. It's full of comedians. They're pretty famous as well. The problem is Andrew is, before he was famous, he was funny, right?
Yeah.
Now he's famous, he's funny and pretentious. And he's full of
Okay.
himself. And he
Yeah.
feels, I'm the best. He sold out Madison Square Garden. So he's like, I'm the best to ever do it. And unfortunately, that makes him less funny on a podcast because he always talks over people. He always shouts. It's just a bit annoying.
Yeah.
So James and Fuhad went on his podcast. Andrew Schultz is known for being controversial. He made a few racist jokes. The dynamic in his show is he is part of the black community, or, like, they wouldn't be hurt if he said something quote unquote racist because
Yeah.
it's what he does and they're fine with it because he says it in a joking way.
That's his
Anyway,
gig. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like his trick. Yeah. So anyway, they went on. He said something about black women beating their boyfriends and not being attractive. And James and Fuhad laughed at the joke, right? And that's why they're getting cancelled, because they didn't stand up against the racism.
Oh, okay.
One thing I want to say, controversial, don't cancel me. The people who were pressed by this information were the ones who believed they had a chance at getting with them. And the people who are calling them out are the ones who are trying to be a knight in shining armor for the people that are upset that couldn't get with them. So imagine you see the celebrity, you built it up in your mind, you listen to them for hours, hours on end,
Yeah.
every day. You like, oh, love this celebrity. I'm going to get with the celebrity one day. Then you find out the celebrity isn't really attracted to the kind of person you are. That will break you.
An average heart white guy.
Exactly. So that's my take, is that's what the people who were upset, I think, because their world was shattered. However, they came out and did an apology, and their apology was horrible. Their apology was basically, we were in shock and we didn't know what to do, so we just laughed it off. And you guys are the biggest podcast in the UK. How are you in shock and laughing something off when you know you're in the spotlight? All they had to say is, hey, I thought that was racist, or I didn't like that joke. Because Andrew needs to be called out, number one. Otherwise, he's just going to carry on doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Example, Shane Gillis. You know Shane Gillis?
Yes, yeah.
He went on and Andrew was making fun of people with Down syndrome. And Shane Gillis has Down syndrome, I think it's brother or something. And he hangs out with them a lot.
Yeah. And he always jokes that he's got a little bit of it.
Exactly.
In himself.
So Andrew was making fun of it, right? He's making fun of people with Down syndrome. And on the podcast, Shane Gillis called him out and said, it's not funny. These guys are having such a good time. They don't mean you any harm. And Andrew was actually like taking a step back and he's like, no, I'm not doing that. But firstly, it made a good clip. So everyone at the podcast was happy. Secondly, it put Andrew in his place and he knew what to do. Now, if these guys did the same thing, they were like, listen, in the UK, we don't really treat racism like that. Then Andrew would have been like, take a step back. But unfortunately, they laughed it off. And then Andrew just kept going and just kept getting worse.
Kept digging the hole deeper.
And I think one of them said they've never seen an attractive an attractive woman in Atlanta. So
And
that's a very bold
Atlanta's,
statement to
yeah,
make.
because Atlanta's infamously a very black part of the country, African American
Correct.
part of the country. So that's a hell of a statement to make.
So that's their situation. Now, the whole apology, people are upset with it. Now, I would have been happy with them coming out and saying the truth, but I feel like what they've said in their apology is a cover up of, hey guys, this is what happened. Please don't cancel us.
Yeah, no, it's definitely because they, it's again with it being very pretentious and full of themselves. They don't want to be like, oh, listen, we made a mistake. Sorry, it was an offensive joke. We'll be better. They won't say that because they're full of shit. They think they know better. So that's not going to happen. But I think even in that clip, if they still laughed, but then kind of go like, hey, yo, whoa, that's like laugh, but then still say, hey, that's a bit offsides. That's you can still make it a fun and chilled environment and still come out and say, hey, listen, hey, it's funny, but that's crossing a line, or hey, that's too much.
Yeah, we didn't. No, people didn't want. I don't think people expected a scene. I don't think that they wanted them to get up and kick the cameras over.
Yeah, it
Because
didn't need to
you
take that
got to
much.
take it with a grain of salt. Andrew Schultz is known for making fun of other races. Like he was in Dubai making fun of all the Arab people. So that's like his thing.
Yeah,
If it's too far for you personally and you're a guest on his podcast, you can clearly say it.
yeah,
They're not
and you
going
don't
to
have
cut
to
it.
be an
They'll probably
arsehole.
cut it out. They can cut it out the podcast as well. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
have to go into the final edit.
yeah, and you don't, like you say, you don't have to kick down the microphone and jump him. You just, you can still be like, haha, funny, but cross the line. Don't do that, please. It could have been handled better. And comedians are notoriously witty and sharp-minded, and always have a comeback. So to come with the, oh, we were in shock, we didn't know what to say, is bullshit. How many times do you watch these comedians up on stage getting nagged and cackled from the crowd and
Heckled, yeah.
heckled? A split second, they've got a reply. No matter how rude or absolutely disgusting the comment from the crowd is, they got to come back instantly. So yeah, no, I completely don't believe their whole "we were in shock, we just laughed it off, like we didn't know what to do." It's just bullshit. That's a please don't cancel us, like you were saying. That's completely just a
For sure.
like we actually thought it was funny, but we don't want to be cancelled, so we're sorry. Yeah, put it in your socket and smoke it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like Andrew, his podcast, I can't watch it anymore. I unsubscribed a while ago. His stand-ups, I do watch them because he does. They are quite funny. I haven't seen a stand-up from him that hasn't been like funny, and the crowd is enjoying it. Everyone's getting along. Critics have reviewed it quite well. His podcast, however, he's too full of himself, so I don't like it. But anyway, that's my take. So I'll be watching the Talk Tuah podcast from now on. The greatest podcast of all time, apart from ours, of course.
Yeah, we at the number one spot. In case you haven't watched, we're just shadow banned right now. That's why we
We shadow
we're on
ban
the
and
down
we
low.
only show up in Ireland,
But no,
Easter Island.
I do have one that I've watched occasionally, not religiously, but occasionally. It is a bit of a hard one to watch, though. So you remember Ridiculousness? It used to be on
Yes.
MTV with Rob Dyrdek,
Yes.
however you
Dyrdek, yeah.
Dyrdek, however you say his name, and Chanel West Coast. Oh, what are they? But
Can
so
you
he has
hear
a
her laugh
podcast.
now?
No, I can't do it. But no, see, he has a podcast as well, but it's like all about self-enrichment and trying to better yourself and all his strategies to how he became a better person and a better businessman. And like I said, sometimes there's an episode where you can take some nuggets out of it, and then sometimes I'm just there like, dude, I don't have money. Like, I can't do all these things you're saying. You need to do. You should do. You have to do. And I'm like, that's just not free. Well, how am I supposed to do all this shit? Like, if those are the keys to success,
And
I'm
also,
definitely not getting there.
a lot of it was early 20s when they didn't have any other option, right? So it's like between studying, between working, skateboarding. I got to go skateboard. I got to record myself skateboarding. That was essentially what he did. You can't do that now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it started
How
with the
you gonna-
skateboarding. Then he
Yeah.
got the Dream Factory. Then he did a show. Then he did another show. And then he's now got like 4 or 5 brands that he's now in part ownership or owns fully outright. So yeah, but again, it all started with catching, skateboarding. It's for me. I'm gonna do it. I don't want to do the whole studying thing. I'm gonna be
you
angry.
you gotta have that passion that is like unique. I did see the episode though. I do know his podcast. I saw his episode with Ryan Sheckler.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, shame that kid. Do you know what happened to him? Do you remember?
No.
I don't know if you ever watched on MTV Life of Ryan.
No, I didn't watch.
Okay,
I didn't watch Life
so
of Ryan.
he was probably the greatest skateboarder since Tony Hawk.
Okay.
So he won the X Games at like 13. He won an X Games gold medal for skateboarding.
Shit. That's hectic.
And he got a show on MTV called Life of Ryan. And MTV producers absolutely ruined him. They forced him to fight with people. They told him lies. They would say, he had a competition to go to, and the producers would say, "Oh, your mom said you're not allowed to go to this competition." Whereas actually she was like, "Yeah, sure, go." But they went and told him, "Oh, your mom's." So then he was angry at his mom, and then they built up this whole thing. They made him break up with his girlfriend, and he did it on camera. And they're like, Ryan, can we just shoot that again? We didn't get the right angle. So he had to break up with his girlfriend again.
No, that's
They eventually
that's
he managed to
MTV
get
for
out. Yeah, no, he went off the rails. But what I've seen is that most of it was overacted. So like, if he did a little bit of drugs, they would say, Ryan Sheckler's addicted to drugs. He's gone off the rails. He's relapsed. He's going to rehab. Whereas he went one night and did one drug. And that was like just like
had like a little bit of weed
to relax. Exactly. Yes.
And oh no, he's doing cocaine in the bathroom. He's
so
addicted.
Shame they ruined him.
No, that's a lot of youngsters. I mean, that's the whole Hollywood syndrome of. I think the only 2 that really escaped it are the twins,
Zach and Cody.
Zach and Cody, because every other child star, or maybe Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe.
No, he had his.
No, he did. Yeah. Emma Watson. Ooh, Emma Watson. She did.
I think she's been good. Yeah, I think she's had a
good. So she was also one of the few child stars that didn't absolutely.
But isn't that because Harry Potter wasn't Disney?
Oh, I can't lean too far back. My chair's still kind of broken. I've glued it back together, but it makes noises. But yeah, maybe because it is actually. Yeah, I think it is more of a Disney phenomenon.
Yeah. Also, Hilary Duff, she got out of it.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Yeah, there's a few from our childhood, but I think recently they've all gone like downhill. But none of
Miley
the children's
Cyrus.
faults. Yeah,
Amanda
but
she's come back.
Oh, Amanda Barnes. Shame. I was
Amanda
talking
Bynes.
to Justine the other day about this. That's so sad.
That's hectic. Like she used to be, it was like her and Miley Cyrus were like all kind of our guys' age. Like, oh wow, similar age to us.
I think she was.
Acting.
I think she was slightly before Miley as well. I think she had blown up a lot earlier.
Yeah,
She
she
even had her
was
own show, the Amanda Show.
exactly. So yeah, that was a proper falling off and has not come back.
And this
Ugh.
whole time, it was Dan Snyder's fault and her parents.
Well, I mean, definitely we can't not blame the parents. I think that's something a lot of people do. Is like, oh no, the parents are completely innocent. It was all Dan.
The parents forced the child into acting in most cases,
Yeah,
out of
and
their own greed
also
as well.
ignored all the warning signs because they were getting a paycheck.
Exactly, and I think that's why now, like recently, I think things have changed. I don't see much child actors. That the only child actor that I know of is that one that was recited the whole of Deadpool. He What's his name?
Oh,
He was in the
um,
Percy Jackson series.
he's in the Percy Jackson series, and then he's in another thing with Ryan Reynolds.
Afterlife. When he
Afterlife.
goes back in time.
Yes, and
Yes.
he plays the young
Young Ryan
character,
Reynolds.
the
Yes.
young Ryan Reynolds in the movie.
Like if you had to ask me to name a child actor, I don't know his name, but that's the only one that.
Actually, yeah, I can't. Yeah, any modern time ones, even what they're not getting. The only other one I can kind of think of is from Logan. Logan's daughter. Have you watched Logan? Wolverine?
Oh yes.
The Logan, the daughter with the two
Isn't
claws.
she? Isn't she older now?
Well, yeah, now she is.
Oh, but back then.
But back then, I think she's
X-23.
X-23. Yeah.
No idea what her name is.
Yeah. Don't know her name. I know she's in her 17, 18, maybe 21 even.
Yeah. And she's in Deadpool.
And she's in Deadpool. Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
Speaking of that, other than Deadpool and Wolverine, I really don't think there have been any good movies coming out lately.
I agree. I think the last good movie that came out was Deadpool 1.
Okay, no, I'm going more recent. Because if you're going to go back that
no,
far,
seriously.
then the Avengers series.
That was Deadpool came out after Avengers. Was that Deadpool 2? I don't know.
No, Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2 was 2018.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. I would say Avengers Endgame was the
Endgame
last
was
good movie.
I haven't seen the new Deadpool, so I can't speak to that. Although it looks hella good. But as you may know, having a very small child does not make movie going possible.
Well, no, it doesn't. We tried to go to the movies the other day. They had a special €5 tickets. So tickets are
What's
usually
the normal?
like 20, 18 to 20.
20?
I know, it's ridiculous. But anyway, they had a €5 Saturday, all tickets. We went to go see Despicable Me 4. We got halfway through, and both our kids were like, "Can we go home now?"
What? Yeah. Was it that average?
Well,
or was the cinema not lacquer?
The cinema was nice. Everyone was having a good time. The movie was, I don't know, it just wasn't geared for them. They haven't really watched Despicable Me or Minions. That's not like their thing. So that's possibly why. We had an option between Despicable Me and Inside Out 2. So we're like, they're not going to watch Inside Out 2. So let's go watch Despicable Me, see how they enjoy it. Luckily, it was only €5. So we were like, okay, cool, we'll leave halfway through. But yeah, the movie, it's the same premise. It's the same thing. That's what I think with movies nowadays is that they all follow the same story. They're all predictable. And I don't know if it's my ADD or what, but I can always tell how the movie's going to end or what the twist is going to be.
Especially American movies.
Yeah. Vince Vaughn said a really good thing. He said, someone asked him in an interview, why don't you make movies like you used to? Like he used to make Dodgeball, Wedding Crashes. Like Vince Vaughn movies were great and they were brand new ideas. And he says, studios don't want to make those because it's not a property. What is the word he used?
the intellectual property.
Yeah, IP. Yes, it's not an IP. So that's why you see movies like Minecraft coming out, because it's intellectual property, which means that there's an existing audience that will go watch.
Yeah.
So outside of that, studios don't want to license anything because
it's the same one
not safe.
Yeah, and the same one Disney's just doing remakes.
Exactly,
no
and that's why
original
movies
anything.
are boring now.
Like who wants
Avengers
to see...
was the last movie that was a new, fresh thing, bringing everyone together. The next Avengers, they're going to bring everyone together again. We've
with
seen
different
it,
actors. Yeah,
but we've seen it. It's not anything new.
Yeah, no, it's
Spider-Man 4 was
Madam
supposed to
Web.
be Spider-Man 4. Wait, hold on. Spider-Man 4 was supposed to be Tom Holland and Daredevil taking on Kingpin. That was supposed to be Spider-Man 4, which would have been great on the street. Spider-Man like we know it.
Yeah.
Guess what? Oh no, it's going to be multiverse again.
Yeah, but
They're bringing back the other two Spider-Man plus the 3 Spider-Woman.
Yeah, I blame the success of the animated Spider-Man, which was that was another good movie. I enjoyed that thoroughly. The new...
Have you seen Across the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
The second one. I
And
haven't
the second
seen it.
one as well. Also very good.
I'm waiting for it to come out on thing, but it's not. Apparently it's on Netflix in the US, but it's not on here.
Wait, that is Marvel.
Sony.
Oh, is that still Sony? That's not... Oh, okay. Then never mind. I was going to say, because then you'll see it on Disney.
It's Marvel Studios, not Marvel.
Oh, Marvel Studios, which is still Sony. Okay, because I was going to say, and it should be on Disney.
I've even looked on Amazon. It's not there.
Yeah.
I'll probably have to rent it. That's what I'm saying. All the movies are the same. Like, why does Spider-Man have to be another multiverse thing? Why do they have to bring back the other two Spider-Man plus the Spider-Woman from Madam Web? Apparently Venom is going to be in it. And they're going to team up.
And
they're going to team up to take on... do you remember the Spider-Man game that recently came out?
No.
And
okay. The PS4, PS5 exclusive.
PS5 game. Yes.
Yeah, the PS5 exclusive.
So that, with all the symbiotes that are attacking the city, blah, 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 it's going to be that similar storyline.
So kind of expanding on Venom, actually. Because Venom was all about that one symbiote that came. But then I think it was in the post-credits, there were more falling. In the second, Venom. Was it Venom? There's only one Venom.
2. There's been 2 Venoms.
It was, and then
because it was Carnage and they killed Carnage,
Yes, it was Carnage, they killed Carnage. But then you could see all the other ones landing, or the other asteroids crashing or something, if I remember correct. So maybe it's going to be expanding on that's happened. Now we have Spider-Man involved. Which, I mean...
it'll be nice to see them all in their black suits. But outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah, otherwise, I actually
Introduce Miles and it'll be good.
Imagine. That'll be like a real multiverse crossover animation popping up in real life. Imagine. But
wow. If they did that, if they brought Spider-Verse Miles animated and they put it together, that would be insane.
Because they actually did bring, in the multiverse, I'm giving you a spoiler now, but in the multiverse, they actually do have a live-action Spider-Man. I can't remember if it's Toby or Andrew Garfield, but they have one of them just for 3 seconds on screen. He's just kind of standing there like, you just kind of see him, like all the actions moving, and he's just kind of there. and you just see him in his Spidey suit, and you're like, oh, that's not animated. What? He just flies by.
Yeah,
no.
but like in the reverse, like you have like animated characters popping out and interacting. That would take some incredible acting from Tom.
Yeah, it would. But then it would be, I guess then you run the risk of it being like Space Jam. Where there's this mix of cartoon characters.
But it has to be Spider-Verse, like
Miles Morales.
the style, the frame rate, everything. And then you won't you won't have a Space Jam issue then, because it's going to be live action with animated characters in the real world.
Yeah, no, that would be. Speaking of, so you got Amazon. Did you watch Ricky Stenicki?
I did.
It was a confusing movie for me. I wanted to enjoy it more, but it was also like, it was meh.
I think 20-year-olds enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think so.
Because when I was growing up, one of my favorite movies was Fired Up. I don't know if you ever watched that.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. No, that was a great movie.
But if I watch that now, it's like, I don't know about that.
I still find it funny.
It's definitely got its moments, yeah. But
I see what you mean now.
So I think it's for a younger audience, possibly it would work. I did watch it. I thought it was quite funny. You're right. The plot was a bit shaky because how is that physically possible that this just keeps getting everything in his favor?
And a company that big just hired an oak off the street with no anything in this kind of job market. No way in hell.
Yeah.
But what was the other movie I was going to talk about now? Oh, and the new Barbie movie.
I haven't seen it.
You go and see it. It's weirdly good. And I'll tell you why. Because the messaging F's with you. It is actually so strange.
In what way?
So the whole premise is how...
And feel free to spoil it because... I'm not really interested in Barbie, but I'll watch it.
No, but that's the thing.
I'll give it a try.
It's not about Barbie. I mean, it is. But they use Barbie as the vehicle to convey the message. So watch it, but don't watch it thinking, I'm watching Barbie.
Right.
Watch it as you're watching commentary on the current gender roles environment. Because that's actually what the movie is about and why it got such a big... following. That's why that weekend was called the Barbenheimer, because it was Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Am I allowed to disagree with what's been said in the movie?
Well, you got to watch the movie first, and then you can on the next episode we can have a comeback, have a full.
Barbie's not really trending right now, but
no, that's because it was.
Wait for them to announce Barbie 2, then we'll do the episode.
There definitely won't be a Barbie 2. That movie wasn't a movie that has a number 2. At least not a good one. But no, so it's about the whole idea of in Barbie world, which is a real place in the world, women run everything and it's all hunky-dory, but the Kens are completely neglected.
Okay.
Like they are ignored. They just exist. They're just there. And then you can see one of the two, the Kens.
Do they have any reason to be there? Like, do they have jobs and stuff?
No. It's literal Barbie land. They have powers. Things just happen. It's magic.
Okay.
When you watch it, you'll see it. Like you'll understand the premise of it. So then something goes wrong. Magical barrier breaks down, some bullshit. And Barbie gets into the real world. But in Barbie world, they're under the impression that they've fixed the world. That Barbies have saved the world.
Right.
So then she goes into the real world, and it's all run by men. It's all terrible, blah, 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 blah. But then she starts seeing how different people get treated differently, how she went from in Barbie world being all self-respected and everything's perfect to coming to the real world and then being like this object
Right.
and being stared at, and then all of a sudden she feels insecure and everything. But then the inverse happens to Ken, where in Barbie world he's been this completely ignored, no one pays him any time of day, to coming to the real world, and now he's got all this attention, this positive attention. People are, listening to him. He's getting stuff done, even though he's a brick and he knows absolutely nothing. But it's Ryan Gosling, so who cares? And then all sorts of stuff happens. End moral of the story is equal sharing of time and valuing people was kind of like the end message, where it's at the very end of the movie, the whole issue which caused all the drama was Ken felt ignored and undervalued because Barbie had been ignoring him, and all he ever wanted was a bit of attention from Barbie.
What a load of nonsense. Wenzel, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram, Wenzel_Gordon, or better yet, for the latest little sweet bits that come out of our incredible podcasts, you can actually find our new TikTok account. Literally just Global Buggers. Search it.
It will be the top line in the description.
Yes.
Go and follow.
Go and follow.
Cool. Thank you so much. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.